The Coco. The Coco is a mythical ghost monster, equivalent to the boogeyman, found in many Hispanic countries. In Spain and Latin America, parents sometimes invoke the Coco as a way of discouraging their children from misbehaving. They sing lullabies or tell rhymes warning their children that if they don't obey their parents, El Coco will come and get them, inevitably eating them. It is not the way the Coco looks, but what he does that scares most. It is a child eater and kidnapper. It may immediately devour the child, leaving no trace. Or it may spirit the child away to a place of no return. But it only does this to disobedient children. The rhyme has evolved over the years, but still retains its original meaning. Duérmete, niño, duérmete ya, que viene el Coco y te comerá. Sleep, child, sleep now. Here comes the Coco, and he will eat you. The Evil Eye. The evil eye is a curse believed to be cast by a malevolent glare, usually given to a person when they are unaware. Many cultures believe that receiving the evil eye will cause misfortune or injury. Infants are considered at special risk for the evil eye and are often given an amulet bracelet as protection, typically with an eye-like spot painted onto the amulet. Another preventative measure is allowing admirers to touch the infant or child in a similar manner. A person wearing an item of clothing that might induce envy may suggest to others that they touch it, or some other way to dispel envy. One traditional cure in rural Mexico involves a folk healer sweeping a raw chicken egg over the body of a victim to absorb the power of the person with the evil eye. The egg is later broken into a glass with water and placed under the bed of the patient near the head. Sometimes it is checked immediately because the egg appears as if it has been cooked. When this happens, it means the patient did have evil eye. Somehow, evil eye has transformed the egg, and the patient immediately gets well. The Carajo. There is a good white Carajo and an evil black Carajo. Both are spirits that appear at night to travelers. The white is to protect them from harm during their journey. The black is to kill them. They usually appear in the form of a large, shaggy dog with burning red eyes and a goat's hoof. Although in some areas they have a more bull-like characteristic. According to the stories, many have tried to kill the black Carajo, but have failed and perished. Also, it is said that if a Carajo is killed, it will smell terrible for several days, and then its body will disappear. Some Guatemalan folklore also tells of a Carajo that guards drunks against anyone who tries to rob or hurt them. When the Carajo is near, it is said to bring about a strong goat-like smell. Most people say never to turn your back to the creature because otherwise you will go crazy. Speaking to the Carajo will also induce insanity. La Llorona is a widespread legend throughout the region of Hispanic America. It is occasionally referred to by its translation into English or by the Weeping Woman. Although several variations exist, the most basic story tells of a beautiful woman by the name of Maria, who drowned her children in the Mexican River as a means of revenge because her husband left her for a younger woman. She soon realizes that her children are dead, so she drowns herself in the river. Challenged at the gates of heaven as to the whereabouts of her children, she is not permitted to enter the afterlife until she has found them. Maria is forced to wander the earth for all eternity, searching in vain for her drowned offspring, with her constant weeping, giving her the name La Llorona. She is trapped in between the living world and the spirit world. Parents often use this story to prevent their child from wandering out at night, In some versions of this tale and legend, La Llorona will kidnap wandering children who resemble her missing children, asking her children for forgiveness, and drowning those children to take their place. They will never forgive her, and she keeps trying. People who claim to have seen her say she appears at night or in the late evenings from rivers or lakes in Mexico. Some believe that those who hear the wails of La Llorona are marked for death. She is said to cry, "Ay, mi niños," "Oh, my children." El Sabon, or the man who whistles. The legend goes that there is a boy who lived happily with his mother, father, and grandfather in Los Llanos, a region in Venezuela. They lived a simple life of farming. However, the parents raised was a very spoiled child. He would not eat certain foods, and he would cry out until his parents pleased him. One day, the boy asked his father to hunt a deer for them to eat, as deer was his favorite. The father decided to please his son and hunt for a deer for him to eat that day. Sadly, after hours of searching, he failed to return with anything. Ever so hungry, upon seeing his father had returned empty-handed, he took his father's hunting knife and killed him with it. At that moment, the mother and grandfather rushed inside, only to find the boy standing over his father's corpse. As the mother cried for her husband, the grandfather took it upon himself to punish the boy. First, he tied the boy to a tree, and with a whip, he struck his back repeatedly until he bled. Then he would squeeze lemons on his back, and finally gave him a sack filled with his father's remains, and cast him away into the plains to carry them as he sets the dogs after him. But before he unleashed the dogs, the boy walked away. His grandfather cursed him. "You should have not done that to your father. You will be damned for the rest of your life." The grandfather yelled as he released his grip on the ropes and freed the dogs. As the dogs chased him, the boy whistled in a very distinct manner, following the traditional musical scale, until the dogs finally caught up to him. And so, the boy was cursed, left to wander the plains, bringing death to anyone whom he may happen to cross. Unlike most urban legends, El Sabon does not pursue a specific brand of victims. He is regarded as an omen for death for anyone who wanders the plains at night. He will follow his victims, first from afar, until gradually catching up to them. He is tricky, for at first, you will hear him whistling, expecting you to run away. And as you hear the whistling fade in the distance, you will feel relief, as you think it means you are safe. But in reality, the further the whistle, the closer he is. La Pata Sola. All of the origin stories agree that La Pata Sola suffered from a horrible mutilation just prior to her death, namely the amputation of one of her legs at the hip. After dying of her wounds, her soul became trapped in a one-legged body, which now wanders the mountain jungles, looking for victims. She especially likes to catch and kill hunters, miners, loggers, and other men engaged in work that harms the jungle and its creatures. According to some versions of the legend, she also enjoys stealing children from their beds, taking them deep into the jungle, where she can suck their blood with her fangs. She is a shape-shifting siren that draws men to her with her pitiful cries of a woman lost in the jungle. At first, she looks like a beautiful woman, but once she feels certain that her victim is well and truly lost in the forest, she transforms into a monster. In this form, she has an ugly face with bulging eyes, fat lips, a hooked nose, and cat-like fangs, which she sometimes hides behind her wildly tangled hair. The Chupacabra. The Chupacabra is a legendary creature rumored to inhabit parts of the Americas, with the first sighting reported in Puerto Rico. The first reported attacks occurred in March 1995 in Puerto Rico. In this attack, 8 sheep were discovered dead, each with 3 puncture wounds in its chest, and completely drained of blood. A few months later, in August, an eyewitness reported seeing the creature in a Puerto Rican town. as many as 150 farm animals and pets were reportedly killed. In 1975, similar killings in the small town of Mocha were attributed to El Vaporo de Mocha. Initially, it was suspected that the killings were committed by a satanic cult. Later, more killings were reported around the island, and many farms reported loss of animal life. Each of the animals was reported to have had its body bled dry through a series of small circular incisions. La Luz Mala, the bad light. La Luz Mala was feared and became a source of stories and legends. It was thought to be the souls of the departed that have not been forgiven of their sins, and therefore must continue on earth. As such, it was a message from the underworld that should be avoided. In order to protect oneself from the evils of the light, upon seeing it, locals will pray and bite the knife or seath, as this weapon is considered to be the only defense possible. When paths were known to have apparitions of La Luz Mala, they would cease to be used for a long time. La Luz Mala has a number of other names, including Devil's Lantern. It is considered one of the most famous myths and legends of Argentina. La Seguapa. If you go to the Dominican Republic, remember one thing. Don't look a Seguapa in the eye. But what are they? The Seguapa can look ugly to some, but beautiful to others. And, like many other mythical female creatures in Spanish-speaking countries, they can bewitch men. These wild creatures are nocturnal, and legend has it that they enjoy seducing men, luring them into the forest, only to kill them after having sex with them. At night, they leave their forest homes to look for food such as fruit, fish, and birds. Not only dangerous and seductive, these creatures are also mischievous. When women are not in their kitchens, it will come and steal from them. Though its image varies, they are always females with long, beautiful dark hair. Their hair is so long, in fact, that it is only covering their otherwise naked bodies. These creatures also have feet that face backwards, which makes them particularly hard to catch, as their tracks are hard to follow since it's impossible to tell which way they are going. They generally have dark skin, either brown or blue. While descriptions of their bodies differ depending on regions of the Dominican Republic, some say short and out of proportion. Others say long-legged and thin. However, no one has ever heard one speak. Instead, they make high-pitched, squeaking noises, like a whine. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was very interesting. I had a lot of fun actually researching this. You obviously wouldn't know, but I am half Hispanic, I am half Peruvian, so I figured I'd look at this stuff, and it's really interesting. But that last one, stealing from women who aren't in the kitchen, come on now, it's a little sexist. Alright, if you liked my video, please subscribe and don't forget to hit the like button. It would mean so much to me. And remember, there's always someone or something watching you. However, no one